Today we're going to be installing some wood slat panels from Tönnen Sound. And I'd like to thank Tönnen for sending these panels out to me to use in my theater. They did send these to me to keep, however they're not reviewing this footage before it's being uploaded and no money exchanged hands. Alright, so these are the wood slat panels from Tönnen Sound, and you can buy these off of Amazon. They're actually pretty reasonable. So when you place an order, if you make one order, they're going to come in a pack of 2 and 8 feet. So I forget what color this is. I think this is like walnut or something like that. Unfortunately, they didn't have black. So obviously, you know, blacked out theater, I would want something black, but this is the darkest color that they had. So I went ahead and went with this. However, if you decide that maybe you want to go with black, I'm pretty sure you could probably just take like a paint roller, you know, small paint roller, and paint over the surface of that just to make it black. I might do that, but I actually kind of like the way that this looks, and it's dark enough to where I don't really get any reflections off of it, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so these panels come 8 feet tall. So I have 8-foot ceilings, and then you have your baseboard that's a couple of inches, so you're probably going to have to cut off a little bit like I did. So I ended up cutting off a little bit more than what I needed to, and I did that for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to leave a little bit of gap on the top and the bottom of the panel from the ceiling and the baseboard. That way I had enough room to do some wiring, so I could, you know, put some wiring in between. And, you know, I got some diffuser channels that I got to put in between these, which I'll show you. But these are 8 feet tall, so depending on the size of your ceiling, you may have to cut these, maybe not. You may have to cut and add to it. But these are perfect height because they're 8 feet, and it gives me just enough room to cut it like I need to. And it's pretty easy to cut. You cut these with, I used it with a miter saw, an electric miter saw. Just measured, made the measurements, and then, you know, I cut it. So on the front of this, you get your wood veneer. I don't know if the whole thing is actually wood, but I know on the outside of this is wood veneer. And one thing that's different about these panels from other panels is that the wood veneer goes on all 3 sides. So you have your side here, you have the front of it, and then you have the inside. Most acoustic panels, wood slat panels, just put the veneer on the front. This one has it on all 3 sides, so it looks very, very clean, very pristine, very nice. So on the back of this, you have your acoustic properties. So on the back, you have your felt, and it goes all the way up and all the way down the wood slat panel, obviously. And then on the back here, you can see that there's some staples where the wood slats are stapled to. But this is actually pretty easy to install. So it does come with instructions. So when you buy this, it will tell you, you know, what you can do with these, what you need to do. You'll need a tape measure and a pencil, a circular saw, utility knife, screws, and a screwdrivers. Now there's a couple of ways that you can mount this. I did something a little bit different. So I think this usually tells you to use construction adhesive. I didn't really do that. I could have done that, but I wanted to do something just a little bit simpler. So what I did is I bought this stuff off of Amazon. So this is Dual Lock by 3M. This is some heavy duty mounting options. It's kind of like, it's not Velcro. The material obviously is not Velcro, but it's a lot stronger than Velcro. And basically what I did was I just measured pretty much all the way across, cut it, and then measured another piece. And what this does is it locks into place. And then it's got adhesive on the back of it. So I've got 2 sides, you know, when you cut it, I stuck one side on the adhesive, put that on there, and then I just flipped it around and mounted it to the wall. I did that in 3 sections. I did that at the top, the middle, at the bottom. And then when you actually mount it to the wall, you can screw it to the wall using I use some drywall screws, some black drywall screws, and you drill through the felt and into the wall just to give you a little bit more security, so that make sure that it's not going to move. But even just without the screws, basically just using the Dual Lock, I don't think this thing is going anywhere. So I already did one side, which I'll put some B-roll over there on the side for you. But I really, really like the way that these look. This has a very clean look. I wanted to do something a little bit different in my theater. You know, I wasn't going to go the whole wall, didn't really have the space for that or the money, but I wanted to do something that looked a little bit cleaner, a little bit more nice. And also I wanted to add some additional LED lighting that I can control with my HomeKit. So all the lights in my home theater are controlled by HomeKit in one way or another. And it looks really nice. It looks a lot more professional, looks a lot cleaner. It gives it, to me, it gives you that more home theater or theater like feel. Obviously most theaters don't have wood slats on their walls, but to me it just gives it a little bit more professional look. It looks really nice, it looks really clean, and it's one of the first things that you see in your eye line, in your eyesight, when you walk into my theater. So when you walk into my theater, the first thing that you're going to see is that right wall, and to me it just gives a really, really nice, clean, you know, a professional look, and gives you that wow factor. And again, you know, I would have went with black, but I'm actually kind of liking the contrast between the black walls and the walnut color of the wood slat panels. So I've got one side done. Over here I've got one side done, and you can see the LED diffuser channel that I installed in the middle. And then over here, all I need to do is I'm going to cut this side here. You don't really have to do this, but I'm going to cut this little lip here. That way, you know, it'll look better, and it'll just push right up against this LED diffuser channel. And then once I cut that off, I'll mount it up on the wall with the 3M dual lock, and then I'll just screw this into the wall, and I'll be pretty much done. Very simple. May take you a couple hours just, you know, to get everything out of the box, do your measurements, make your cuts, mount, but it looks really nice. I'm really glad that I went this route. And you know, I like I said, I didn't do the whole wall. I kind of wanted something just a little bit of an accent that just broke up all the black, just black walls and acoustic panels. I wanted something a little bit different, but also these do have some acoustic properties. So you've got the premium look, you know, that nice professional look, but then you also have those acoustic properties that basically doubles as, you know, an accent piece, but also, you know, when the sound is bouncing around the room, it's going to hit this wall, or it's going to hit this wood slat, and it's going to break it up instead of just having a flat surface. So yeah, pretty quick video, pretty simple video. Tone and sound, they have different colors. I believe they have white, they have some lighter colors. I don't know if they have black or if they just were out of black. They didn't have that color. But I've seen a couple of you in the comments already from when I made this post saying that you have done something kind of like this. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think it looks better? Are you going to do something like this in your home theater? Maybe you already do have something like this in your home theater. Maybe you've already purchased some stuff with tone and sound. I also have some tone and acoustic panels around the room that I made a video on, and I'll post that in the description of this video and in the comments. All right, future me here. It's been a few days since I started installation of the tone and slat walls and the lighting, and everything is done, and I'm super excited to show it to you. So this is the finished product. Now in a minute I'm going to turn on the lights, but I want to talk to you a little bit about how I went about this. So in the first part of this video, I told you how, you know, to install it, and you know what I did. I cut it, measured it, and all that stuff. And pretty much all it is, you know, I mounted the first one. So I would highly recommend if you need to cut these, cut both of them at the same time so they're at the exact same length. Because if you cut one and you're off by a little bit on your measurements, you might notice that it's not quite the same height. So I cut everything at the same time. As far as the LED channel in the middle here, which I'll show you, I just measured that. After I cut the wood panels, I measured the LED channels because there's about 2.5 of them. I measured this panel, and so really I only had to cut one because I think each panel or each LED channel is, where is it? I want to say it's like 3.3 meters. So I installed one, which I didn't have to cut. I installed one, installed the second one, you know, made sure everything was flush at the top, and then the third one I had to cut. So let me show you what I used for the LED channel. Okay, so what I used for the LED channel is, and I'll leave links for everything in the description of this video. I just went on Amazon and I found these black LED channels. I wanted black, you know, I didn't want silver or white because obviously I wanted it to blend in. So this is a black LED channel metal, and then it comes with this white diffuser. So all I did was I mounted the first panel, and then I installed the second, or I installed the LED channels, and these come with like little mounts to screw into the wall. I didn't want to do that. As I showed you, I took some tape and I just taped it, some sheetrock friendly tape, and then I just put it in the middle, you know, put it all the way at the top, line it up, and then, you know, put that in the middle. And then once I had the entire LED channel the way that I wanted it to, I just butted up the second slat wall right up to it. And then from there, I've got some lighting that I'm going to show you that I put in here. Okay, so once I had the LED channels installed, I got some lighting off of Amazon, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, you know, which ones I got, because there's a specific light that you want to get to work with this so you don't see any LEDs. But really all I did was, you know, once you get the LED channel on there, before you snap in the diffuser, you just, and it's got some adhesive on the back, but you know, you slide this in to the LED channel, and then once you peel off the back of it, and you know, I just stuck it to the back of this, and then you just, you know, put the LED diffuser on, and that's how it looks. It's actually really simple. This is DIY. Everything about this is DIY other than the fact that, you know, these are pre-made and I bought them. But this is a really easy and cheap LED, I guess kind of like a slat wall, LED wall project. And I had the idea in my head, and I decided, you know what? I want to get some more lights in here and make it look a little bit cooler, a little bit more professional, a little bit more nice. And it came out great. So it's really simple. Install the slat wall, install the LED channels, install the other slat wall, and then you install your lighting. You know, you cut it to length, and then you just put on your LED diffuser, and then you're done. All right, so now let me tell you about these LED lights that I'm using. Intermission. Check that out. So these are the LED lights. And it might look a little bit off just because I have everything white balanced already, and then I'm turning on these lights. Hopefully it doesn't like wash out the image or anything. But I have these lights completely voice controlled. I have them integrated into my smart system so I can control them. I can add all kinds of automations. So let me tell you a little bit about how I did that. So these LED lights here that I showed you, when I first bought my LED lights, I bought some COB lights, and I wasn't even thinking about it about a month ago, so I can't return them. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't see any LED lights. And the COB lights that I bought, the LED lights were probably about this far apart. So you could completely see them. And as soon as I didn't install them in there permanently, I just kind of put one in there, taped it, and then put the LED diffuser over it so I could see, and it looked horrible. So I was like, oh great, now I can't return this. This looks horrible. And I didn't realize I need COB lights, because COB lights, you don't see the LED lights. As you can see, you see no LEDs. So I'll leave a link in the description for this specific one. Now this was very hard for me to find because I wanted to use lights that I could integrate either into HomeKit or Home Assistant. And there's pretty much 0 COB lights that fit that description. I came across these by accident. I don't remember the name. I'll put it on screen or I'll put it in the description. But I came across these kind of by accident, and when I read the description, it said that the controller, so you have the LED light, and then the LED light is connected to the controller. The controller is what controls the lights and makes it smart. But when I was reading the description, this said that the controller is either Zigbee or Z-Wave. I want to say it's Zigbee. And because of that, I can add these lights directly into my Phillips Hue app. And that's awesome, because if you're somebody like me that's using Home Assistant, you can integrate Phillips Hue within your Home Assistant. I'm using a Home Assistant green hub, and from there, so once it's in the Phillips Hue app, I can get it into, which it's already installed on my home bridge, or Home Assistant. Once it's in the Phillips Hue app, I can add it into Home Assistant, and then from Home Assistant, I can expose the lights to HomeKit, which makes it very, very powerful. Once it's in HomeKit, and actually I can do some automations in Home Assistant, but once it's in HomeKit, I can do all kinds of integrations with my lights, which I'm going to show you here. With my lights, I can do automations when I'm watching Kaleidoscape or Zedu. When I hit play or pause, I can have the lights come on to a certain percentage. I can have them come on to a certain color, and then when I hit play, and I'll show you all that. When I hit play, the lights go off. I can tell the lights to do basically whatever I want them to do. So I've got my phone here, and obviously I've already added these into Philips Hue, but it's really simple. So what you do is you get the lights, you plug them up, and then you turn on the controller, you plug in the controller, and they automatically go into pairing mode. When you open up the Philips Hue app, you would go to settings, lights, you would add a new light, and you would hit search, and it takes a couple of seconds, maybe 10 seconds, and it finds the Zigbee or the Z-Wave, Zigbee, Z-Wave, either one of those, the controller. And then basically you tell it what type of light it is. It's a light strip, it's a light bulb, it's a light strip. So technically you're adding a Philips Hue light because it's in the Philips Hue app, but it's not a Philips Hue. It's going to give you a bunch of options. It's going to say Philips Hue bulb, Philips Hue light strip. Just pick the Philips Hue light strip. But once they're in there, what's cool about the Philips Hue app is the Philips Hue app exposes the lights to all the different colors that you can add within the Philips Hue. So if I go to my lights, you'll see the wood slats, and I have some scenes that I created here. And then those scenes, I can add them into Home Assistant, and then Home Assistant, I can add them into HomeKit. But as you'll see here, I can turn off the light with the app. I can turn it back on. I can do that with both of the lights. And this makes it really cool with the automations. And, it's beneficial maybe if, I want to pause the movie and get up and go get some popcorn, or go to the bathroom, or I need to do something when I pause, whatever it is, and I'm watching a movie, a TV show, and maybe I don't want all my lights to come on, or I don't want all the lights to come on at full brightness 100%. I just need to be able to walk around and see. I can set the brightness. So for instance, if I'm watching Zedu, I'm watching a movie on my Zedu player, I have, when I press pause, I can have the lights to come on at 10% dim brightness, and then I can have a certain color, red, orange, whatever. But you'll see here I have access to all these different hue scene galleries. So if I wanted to change it to, let's see, concentrate, I can do relax, I can do natural light, I can do energize, or if I have some of these other ones, let's say I want to do nighttime, I want to do Honolulu, I can basically set these to any color lights that I want to. So once it's in HomeKit, I can create it, a room, I can put them in a room, and then I can do a bunch of stuff with it. So if I click on this light here, you'll see right now it's white. I can change that to blue. I can change it to whatever color that is, purple, red, and then I can increase the brightness, and then I can completely turn it off. So now it's off. I can turn it on. I can change it to white. And then, like I said, I have those scenes from Philips Hue that shows up in Home Assistant, and then from Home Assistant, I can add them to my lights. So if I go into my room, my home theater, or my man cave, you'll see I have some scenes here. So you'll see that I have these scenes here. So if I long press on that, click accessories, you'll see this one is called Energize. And the only way to get those scenes from Philips Hue is to go through Home Assistant and then add them, expose them to HomeKit. So let's say I click on this one. So this one is called Cool White. And then this one here is called Orange. So if I turn this switch on, and I have it as a switch in HomeKit, I turn that on and you'll see it turns to orange. So that's really cool. So something else that's really cool is I can control these through voice. So if I go over to my watch and I say, turn off the slat wall, you'll see it turns off. But then also what I do is I have this little Phillips Hue light switch that's smart, and also again, because it's part of Phillips Hue, it's in Home Assistant, and then from Home Assistant I can expose it to my HomeKit. So what I like to do is I like to program these different buttons. So this stays outside of the theater at all times. And when I walk in the room, let's say I'm not planning on watching movies, but I need more light to work around in here. If I'm setting up my, my studio to film, I have specific scenes that I can assign to each button. So if I press this one, this is the one that I usually press when I come into the theater. So if I press that, you'll see I have it automatically set. And you saw that it went from orange to this energized color. But then when I walk out of the room, and I have these lights to stay on pretty much all the time because whenever I walk into the room, I want a certain ambiance and a certain feeling. So when I leave the room, I hit this button here that I have programmed, and you'll see it changes to this orange color that I saved the scene in Phillips Hue. So I can do all kinds of stuff now that these lights are actually in HomeKit and in Home Assistant. And by the way, these lights are like really orange right now. It might not come through with the camera just because of the white balance and everything, but the color has a really nice orange. And again, I can only get those colors through the Phillips Hue app. The HomeKit is very limited on the colors that you can actually create, at least that I know of. Now, I will say the only thing that I don't like about these lights is sometimes they're not very accurate. And I would say 85 to 90% of the time, these lights do what I want them to. But I have noticed that sometimes, like for instance, on this color, if I activate my Kaleidoscape scene or my Zedu scene and I press pause, sometimes one or both of the lights won't change to the color that I want it to. And I have to hit pause and play again, and then they'll change over to the specific scene. Most of the time they work, but I have noticed that if I'm using a scene that's switching to a different color that's already here, sometimes it can be a little bit wonky, and it takes me a couple times. I'm thinking because they're not natively like Philips Hue, they're just probably not engineered as well. The software isn't as good, because this is a no-name brand. I've never heard of this brand of lighting, but it's something that I have to deal with. Hopefully maybe they'll come up with some updates or something that will improve that. But yeah, so I will say that if you do plan on buying these lights, just know that sometimes if you're going to be changing the colors, very often in your different scenes or something like that, then sometimes they aren't as accurate. But these are the only lights that are COB lights that I could find that fit the bill for what I wanted them to do. Okay, so now that we've talked about all of that, I want to tell you the improvement that I noticed when I installed these wood slat panels, because they do have some acoustic properties. They're acoustic slat wall panels. So they double as, aesthetically pleasing, and they also have some acoustic properties. So honestly, I wasn't really expecting much of an improvement in sound quality just because I only have two on each side and they're not covering the whole wall. I was hoping for improvement, but honestly, I was like, I'm probably not going to hear a difference. I was completely wrong on that. So after I set these up, got them installed, I watched just some demo scenes, some of the same demo scenes that I always watch. Ready Player One, what else? Dune Part 2. I watched Godzilla vs. Kong, some scenes from there. Godzilla -1. I watched a bunch of scenes, and what I noticed is that this does an exceptional job of widening the space. And I noticed that, and first let me say this, these panels that I have, they're not exactly in the first reflection point, just because of the way, because I have everything situated. Ideally, I would like to put these in the first reflection point, but I wasn't able to do that. The reflection point is more further back, but this still helped a lot with widening the space and breaking up that sound. Because there's slat walls and there's gaps in between, when everything hits those side walls, at least in this part of the wall, I noticed that I was getting more detail and I was hearing things that either I didn't hear before or that I did hear, but now it's more pronounced and it's a lot clearer. And as well as stuff that's pans, you hear it a lot more now. It's more distinct, it's more clear, more detailed, more precise. And when I was sitting there, I had to kind of rewind a couple of times and I'm like, am I hearing this right? So yeah, it does double as, you know, acoustic. It does have acoustic properties that honestly, like I said, I didn't expect to benefit from that, but it actually helped a lot. So I'm actually kind of thinking of other ways that maybe I can add more. I really don't have any room on the rest of my walls to do that. But yeah, this looks really cool. You know, it's one of the first things that you see, at least on this wall, when you walk into the room. And it just really adds a completely different ambiance than before. I love black walls. You know, I love the little action figures and stuff that I had up here. But now that they're gone, this looks much better. It looks more professional. It gives it more of a premium feel in here. And then, like I said, you know, when I'm pausing or I'm playing a movie and I press pause, or, you know, I start playing a movie, I have all this control over my lights. I can set the lights to a different color. So this color right here, I have this on when I pause, I have this color light to come up just because it's kind of like a little bit shocking, like, hey, your movie is paused. So when I see those lights, I know the movie's paused. Obviously, I know that I'm pausing the movie because I'm the one pausing it, but I thought it would be cool to kind of give it like a different look when I'm pausing the movie versus like some of the other activities that I'm doing in here. And I think some of the other activities like Apple TV, you know, when I hit play or when I hit pause, I think I have a different color to come up just because I'm usually only using Apple TV for YouTube, but I do watch, you know, like Disney Plus and Amazon Prime, stuff like that. All right, guys, well, that's going to conclude this video. Tönnen acoustic panels, LED smart lighting. I'm really glad that I got these. I was thinking about painting these black just because I didn't want any reflections. Honestly, I don't really see very many reflections. If I'm looking at the panels directly during a movie, then there is a slight bit of reflection, but it's not bouncing back on the screen. And honestly, I don't even notice it unless I specifically look for it. So I would give these a 10 out of 10. They look great, makes the room feel a lot more premium. It has some acoustic properties that I audibly noticed. And then if you do something kind of like this, you know, add some smart lighting in there, it just really, really makes the room feel like much more of like a theater. So let me know if you guys plan on buying these. I'll leave a link in the description. I'll leave a link in the description for everything that I used as much as I can, you know, that's on Amazon, because most of the stuff I bought on Amazon. The slat panels are from Amazon, the LED channels, the diffuser comes with the LED channels, and the lights also bought on Amazon. So pretty much everything is on Amazon. I'll leave links in the description. Let me know what you guys think if you're planning on doing something like this. I know some people in the comments said that they did something a little bit kind of like this. What do you think? Do you think it looks better than it did before? And would you buy these and install them in your home theater? All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.